Sure. Well, number one, I think if you go to all the nutrition books out there that's out in the world and courses and everything, you'll see these massive volumes and textbooks of everything about protein and fats and carbohydrates and et cetera, and all this sort of minerals and all the roles and functions of all this stuff. And there'll be a couple lines on the role of enzymes and probiotics. So the fundamental aspect that almost everyone in the nutrition industry makes a flawed assumption is that if I put food in my mouth, it's automatically converted into energy or building blocks. And we have a digestive system, and I've broken it down into 5 stages of how digestion works. And, the sensory experience at first, taste, touch, smell, preparation of the food, the aroma, all that sort of stuff, which you'll start to salivate, produce, enzymes, and you eat the food, you masticate the food, it goes down the esophagus and into the upper cardiac portion of the stomach. You got 30 to 60 minutes where the enzymes present are supposed to break that food down. Then hydrochloric acid comes in. That does 2 things. It disinfects the food from parasites, bacteria, viruses, bugs, whatever you might have consumed with it. And then your body, and it also changes the pH, which activates some enzymes and deactivates others. And then your body uses bicarbonate buffers, which is a fancy name for minerals, to neutralize the acid in the stomach before it goes into the intestinal tract. In the intestinal tract, you have all these bacteria cultures that then convert the food into building blocks or energy units or toxins. So you have, I always say, 10% good bacteria, 10% bad, and 80% opportunists, depending on what you're eating, where you're eating, and what's your state of eating. And then finally, through all this is moved through peristaltic contraction, and you eliminate whatever's not being utilized. So the problems that people encounter in digestion are, one, they're selecting the wrong food based on their sensory inputs that are incorrect. Number 2, they are not masticating their food sufficiently enough so that they can get it into the body in a state that can be easily broken down. Number 3, they're not producing enough hydrochloric acid. Very common, and they treat that with antacid pills, which is kind of fascinating. That's because if you don't have enough acid, you start to ferment the food, it creates gas, that opens the esophageal sphincter. Some of that acid will splash up and cause acid reflux and heartburn. Okay. Also, we eat our food mostly in a cooked state. So we have no enzymes present in the food that forces our body to manufacture enzymes. And we can manufacture enzymes, but there's a metabolic cost to that process by manufacturing enzymes. And so people haven't recognized the full expense of that over the long term of health. And it may not digest your food properly. And then the next piece, or the 4th piece, is insufficient amount of good bacteria or an excess of bad bacteria in your body that causes imbalance in the digestive stress, and that leads to leaky gut or the production of toxins or the impairment of immune function. And then, the final piece is, spinal misalignments that are putting undue pressure on the nervous system function, which is preventing the organs to operate fully, or for peristaltic contractions to move the food through the body. And you can also add hydration onto that, because I think a lot of people are chronically dehydrated and they just built up, cement-like mucoid plaque through their whole system. They can't actually absorb and utilize the food that they're eating.